Welcome. In front of me I have the Infinix Hot 20 5G, finally a decent name, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick spec look of the phone. So anyway, let's just get straight into it. There's nothing in here. Come on, camera. Oh, for goodness sake, someone turned off the autofocus. So anyway, I'm gonna just kind of go into it and say that it says right here that it's a 18-watt charger, and that's what I'm gonna keep it at. Anyway, we also got a SIM eject tool and a charging cable Type-C. So there we go. That's basically all we get in the box. Now let's get a look at the phone. That's not really how I like to see my new phone. Could have made sure that it's actually clean, but oh well. Anyway, so as you can see, it already has a pre-applied screen protector. Let's turn it on. So there we go. So screen right here. This is a 6.58-inch display, 120 Hz, 500 nits, about 82% screen-to-body ratio with a 401 pixels per inch, which puts it at a 1080p resolution, so 1080 by 2408 pixels exactly. So the display right here seems to be pretty nice, though 120 Hz is turned off by default, so this is atrocious right out of the box. But we can just turn on the 120 in the settings, obviously, once the setup is completed. So when I just quickly go through it. There we go. Based on Android 12. So anyway, while this is just processing, oh no, never mind, it's already done. So as you can see, we have our home screen right here. So let's go into settings and display. Where's the refresh rate? Wait, this is actually now, I think this is actually now 120. So in this setup it didn't have 120, but now it does. Okay, interesting. And there we go, screen refresh rate. So yeah, it's now on auto, which basically means that it is at 120. I'm not sure why in this setup it wasn't running at that resolution, but refresh rate, but whatever. Anyway, let's just flip it over. And as you can see, we have double camera setup right here. So main one is a 50 megapixel sensor, and then the second one. Does it say somewhere? Oh well, it just kind of says that it's 50 megapixel, whatever. Now at the front we got an 8 megapixel sensor. So dual camera setup. With both of those, front and back, you can only shoot at max 1080p 30 frames, so nothing really outstanding right here. But moving on into the internals, we have a Dimensity 810 processor in here. It's powered by 5000 mAh battery, and by default, at least the version that I have right here, is powered by 4 gigs of RAM. Now if you look at the actual box it tells us that it's 128 storage and 7 gigs of RAM, but it's showing us 4 plus 3. Now what it means is 4 plus 3, it's not that you have like 2 separate RAM sticks or something like that in here. It's basically, yeah, 4 gigs of RAM is native actual RAM, which you would consider as RAM, and 3 gigs is just an SSD storage. So technically you don't have 4 or 7 gigs of RAM, you have 4 and then storage converted to function as RAM. It's not true RAM, it's not even nowhere fast or anywhere close to the same speed as actual RAM would be, so it's a bit of a misleading practice right now to include like storage conversion to RAM. It's not. You can do it, but like you could convert half of it and it will never even approach the actual like potential of the actual RAM. So yeah. Now moving on to the build quality right here, we have a plastic back, plastic frame, a fingerprint sensor on the power button, so that's pretty nice. We have a Type-C charging port along with a headphone jack on the side right here, bottom firing speakers, and at the top we got absolutely nothing. SIM tray on the left side, which I believe should double also as an SD tray, but I'm gonna pop it out and make sure. There we go. So yep, SD right at the front, and at the back we have dual SIM support. And that's about all I have to say. Now, last thing to mention here would be the price, and this device comes at about 240 euros, give or take. Now, for the price, I feel like this device is quite okay. The main benefits right here, the actual like positives is, well, the fact that you actually get a charger with your device, unlike some other brands like Samsung. You have 120 Hz refresh rate on your screen with a 1080p resolution, so that's also pretty nice. The screen is pretty big and it gets, at 500 nits, it should get pretty decently bright. Though inside right here, and this is maxed out and it doesn't look that bright, though I believe based on like the light sensor, it can boost up higher. So yeah, and obviously you have all the Google services and all that stuff, unlike some other cheap phones or Chinese phones. I believe this is Chinese, but I might be wrong. And another thing, you do actually have NFC, which they advertise on the box, though at this point almost every phone has it. If it doesn't, then it's just a failure. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything more to say. So it's a budget / mid-range device with a pretty decent feature set, like the high refresh rate. Most of the feature set right here is based in the display, so you can get this nice like fluid motion on your display with pretty decent like experience. Because let's be honest, when you're running at 120 Hz, the phone feels much nicer than when it's on 60 Hz. And if you ever used a 120 Hz phone, one might be faster, like 60 Hz phone might be just significantly better in terms of specs, but it just will never feel, in my opinion, as good as 120 Hz that can actually push that refresh rate smoothly. If it starts chugging or like freezing up and just losing frames, then it just feels bad. But at a fluid 120 Hz, phones like this will feel pretty decent, and in most cases they will feel like they're faster than the higher counterpart that doesn't have such a display. So I do really like to see higher refresh rate on phones. Now, with this being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.